Hello, good afternoon, calm mamas. Stephanie Dickerson here, and I'm live with you on Sunday afternoon here from Homer. So if you're just coming on or when you're watching the replay, let me know where you're coming from and how close to summer it is where you are. We've been having a little bit of summer and then a little bit of puffy jacket and glove weather and kind of going back and forth. So you can also tag replay if you're watching this, and be sure and engage with me. Let me know what you're getting from this and what you're finding out about yourself and what lands for you and with you. And yeah, let's make this a conversation, because it's one that I'm so honored to be having, to be supporting you during this time and supporting the women that I'm working with. It is such a pleasure and such an honor to see such growth and such a prioritization of themselves and of their needs and growing into spiritual maturity. One of my teachers recently said this: true happiness is the perfume of our awakening spiritual maturity. And as I'm just basking in more and more of that happiness myself, and yes, even during this time, that just lands and resonates as true. And so I just want to appreciate you and thank you for being here and learning and listening to a new way of thinking, a new possibility, or just, strengthening your resolve to grow into the best and most beautiful version of yourself that you can imagine. So just want to start out by appreciating you for being here and really appreciating all the women that are doing this work. Doing what we're going to talk about today, breaking free of the prison of please and placate. So a lot of us identify as that as being people pleasers, or as not wanting to rock the boat, or knowing that we have a tendency to keep the peace or to avoid conflict. And before I dive in and start talking about what it feels like to be in this prison, what I'm calling a prison of please and placate, and how to break free of that, I wanted to talk first about what it is. What does that even, what am I talking about when I say please and placate? And the first thing that I think is really useful to understand is that the tendency to please and the tendency to placate, it's a response to stress. Okay? So it's a coping strategy, a survival strategy, really. One meant to help us to survive, to get us to safety, to get us through a stressful period. And when we use it for more than that, for more than short-term gain, which it's like we all experience that kind of like, if you have a tendency to please, which we all do at some level, then we know that there's some relief. There's some relief in getting everybody to that place of, okay, their needs are met. Everybody agreed on the meal, or everybody's happy for a minute. Okay, they got what they wanted, but it's a short-term relief. And longer term, it starts to feel like there's no space for us. It starts to feel like there's no space for us. Have you ever heard yourself say that? It feels like there's no space for me. And as we put everyone else's needs first, you inevitably end up putting your own needs on hold. So eventually you might give and give and give, and eventually find yourself blowing up. That's a really common pattern. Or maybe you end up just kind of numb and a little bit unavailable to yourself, or feeling like you're just sort of floating above your life, looking present, but not actually being or feeling present. All of our addictive cycles come from the pain of being stuck in the prison of not being able to get what we need, not being able to get our needs met. And we end up feeling stuck, just stuck, like as if there's no escape. We're not able to set clear boundaries with ourselves or with others. We can't easily ask for what we want. And we certainly can't advocate or take what we want if it makes somebody else unhappy. And so we can end up being like passive aggressive as we keep score and we resent our partners for not prioritizing us. And we lose connection to our own vitality, to our creativity. I've even had people describe this as just feeling sort of like dead inside. And we tell ourselves that we should just be okay. We should just be okay. We should be happy with what we have. And ultimately, it comes down to telling ourselves that we don't really matter. We don't really matter. It's more important to take care of others than of ourselves. So it all amounts to us telling ourselves that we don't matter, at least not as much as everyone else, as those around us. And as long as we're telling ourselves that, as long as we believe that deep down, I should say, as long as we believe that deep down, we'll be stuck in this prison of our own making. This place where we feel hemmed in, where we feel stuck, where it feels like there's no space for us, where it feels like we can't get what we need, that it's not okay for us to put ourselves first, especially if it makes someone else unhappy, right? Because we feel like it's our job, in order to stay safe, we have to keep everyone else happy. And in this place, if at best, well, what do I want to talk about here? I want to tell you this little story about myself from when I was still really locked in this pattern, and this pattern of keeping score and feeling like I had to earn my ability to take care of myself. Like I had to do a certain amount to be worthy of directing and flowing energy and attention and love towards myself, versus to taking time, money, resources, just relaxing, just taking that for myself. So when I was really stuck in this prison of feeling like I had to take care of everybody else and every single thing first and get it all just right. So this was a few years ago, and I had this sort of epiphany. I was working really hard. We were in the middle of remodeling our house. We have this really big old house from the early 80s, and we've been remodeling it for a long time. And we were really in the midst of this remodel. And I was just desperate to relax, and my husband just would not stop working. He just would not stop working. And so because I was keeping score, and because I didn't want to disappoint him, even though he wasn't putting this on me at all, which I'm sure many of you guys experience this, your partners are actually telling you, take some time for yourself, or of course, like, it's okay. But because we're in this prison of our own making, you feel like I felt like I couldn't stop. I didn't want to get behind. I was keeping score and I didn't want to get behind. So my husband, if you know him, you know he's an incredibly talented person and a really hard worker, and he has a lot of energy, and he is very focused. He doesn't like watch TV or like do anything like that. So we were in the middle of this house remodel, and I was just like hanging on till he would stop working so that I could feel okay about resting and relaxing. And so it was finally the end of the day, and I'd been thinking all day I wanted to watch my show and eat saltwater taffy. So somebody had given us a bunch of saltwater taffy, and I'd been thinking about this all afternoon while I was hanging on, just how I wanted to lay on my bed, eat saltwater taffy, and like watch my show. I wanted that like nothing in the world. And then the day ended, we got our kids, sorted and in bed, and my husband started working again. And oh my God, it was like I had this internal implosion, and I realized that he wasn't working for me or to make himself feel good. He was doing what he actually wanted to do. And it was like this whoosh, this awareness dropped in. And I thought to myself, if he wanted to lay on the bed and watch a show and eat saltwater taffy, you can goddamn bet that's what he would be doing. But that's not what he wanted to do. He wanted to climb up in the rafters of his shop and install a new lighting system. So as the bottom dropped out of the prison and I found an escape route, I found this awareness drop in that I was actually in charge of my choices, that I could feel hemmed in and keep score and be competing in a battle, in a game that I was alone in. I was alone in it. Or I could face the moment of discomfort that was within me when I had to say, what I want to do matters. It might look silly or it might not look like what I think it should look like, but here's what I need and want to do right now. And I could take that space. And what I found out is that was just one layer of my coming to a place where I could live free from these prison bars. And as some of you have noticed, this is not a one and done. When we are free, when we have stepped out of the these kind of like the constraints of putting everybody before us or feeling like we need to get ourselves to safety by making everybody else okay, then it starts to feel like life starts to feel really good. It starts to feel like I get to have what I want. It starts to feel like I know what I need and I actually know how to get it. I can ask for what I want. I can just ask for it without a lot of justification. Even if I'm not the primary breadwinner, even if I'm not the one who makes the money. Yeah, because I'm connected to myself and my worth and my value. And this isn't this place of living, this place of freedom. It's not like we're stomping on everybody or that I stop caring or that I stop taking care of those people that I love. It just means that I don't contort myself. I don't compete in a competition by myself of keeping score of how much can I sacrifice? How much can I sacrifice? How much can I deplete myself before I take care of myself? It just means that I put the oxygen mask on me first. And it feels like staying present. Because the cycle of addictions that we find ourselves in, whether it's to busyness or to substances, but just to doing, all of our addictive cycles have their roots in the pain of living in the prison of our unconscious beliefs, the things that we create our life from. Like the belief that we don't matter as much as everyone around us. That what we need or want doesn't really matter. And so it feels like every day things are changing for the better when we start shedding these unconscious beliefs. We start to see ourselves as the person that we're meant to be and see how that is available to us. It feels like an ability to invest in ourselves and to trust ourselves, to know that we have everything that we need within ourselves. And honestly, in that knowing, that's a space that opens up where we're able to receive abundance, but also receive support, receive guidance. In knowing that it's all within us, we no longer have to look like we have it all together and that we are doing it all by ourselves, and we can lean on our guides and our parents and our mentors, and reach out for the kind of support and the kind of like real learning and teaching that we actually do need as humans to move forward to reach spiritual maturity. Because we are wired as humans, we are wired for that kind of connection. It's in that social emotional support that our systems let down enough that we can take in new ways of seeing and new ways of being. It also feels like giving permission for your marriage and for your partner, just like for it to just be themselves. And it feels like not being responsible for anybody else's negative feelings. More abundance and vitality and appreciation and love, happiness and joy. All of the good things come. All of the things that we associate with thriving come when we rework our way of responding to the squeeze of life. And instead of responding with our survival strategies, the one we're talking about today of please and placate, instead of responding with that, then we can respond more in alignment with what we know to be true at a deeper level. That we are enough. You mama, you are enough. You are enough. You are the perfect mom for your children. And you have had the exact right past to bring you to this moment. To bring you to this moment, this you, these children, this moment, this pain, whatever it is exactly right, simply because it's the way that it is. It's the way that it is. And your enoughness, the pure love at your core that's within you, it's the same as what's within your children. So if you can start to see yourself through those eyes and to feel your own worthiness, then you're ready and willing to do the work to break free, which is really just walking out, walking out of the prison. But the hard part is seeing the door, or seeing the bars even, seeing where we're caught, opening up to the possibility that there is another way for life to feel. Yeah, that might be the most important message here, that there is another way for life to feel. If you feel stuck, if you feel squeezed, if you feel like there's not enough space for you, if you feel anxious, if you feel fearful, if you're worried about your children, if you're worried about how the past few months is affecting them or your family or your marriage, if you feel anything less than your a wholehearted openness to life, then there is more here for you. There's more here for you. And the way that you get there is to create safety in your system. And like I've mentioned, as humans, we are wired for connection. So one of the best ways that we can create safety in our system is to create the kind of connection that supports it. So like that involves physical practices, but what I'm talking about right now especially is the kind of support that you get from a coach or a really good therapist or something more than just your girlfriends. So creating safety in your system, because that's what's required to do the real meat of this work, which is to change your unconscious belief system, to root out these beliefs that we have that are based in our survival strategies, the need to please and placate, the belief that what we need and want isn't as important as what those around us need and want. The belief that keeping everybody happy and keeping the peace is the highest priority, or that selflessness is our highest value. Rooting out those unconscious beliefs so that we can step into the truth of who we are, which is love and light and incredible resilience. Our ability to feel and hold space for the whole wide range of human emotions, for all of the grief and loss, to be able to hold space for that that's happening collectively, for all of the fear, to hold space for the rage and the anger and the hate, and to love it all, because it is a part of life. And if you think that you can just get through this time of being squeezed right now, and that there will be another side to it, that you can get through with somehow without doing the inner work of creating safety in your system and rooting out these deep unconscious beliefs that keep you small, that hold you back, that are rooted in fear. You know, you might be right for a little while, but I guarantee there will be something else that will bring you to your knees until you open up, until you say, okay, I'm ready to do this work. I'm ready to do something different. I'm ready to do something different. I'm ready to take the scary step. Aw, thanks, Steph. To take the scary steps to do something different, to risk disappointing someone, to advocate for what you need and want. You can do this. You can do this. It is time. You're being called to do this. You can do this work. And if you are peaked, like Steph, I would just so love to get you on the phone. And it's like, there's no obligation in that. You know, somebody told me that they really wanted to talk to me, but they just felt like, oh, they already knew they couldn't spend what they imagined that my programs cost, and they didn't want to waste my time. And I just want to tell you, you will not be wasting my time. My whole purpose, my whole reason for being is to serve you. And I know that you will get massive clarity out of getting on a phone call with me. I will help you get clear as to what is the biggest block in between you and thriving right now, and what's your next best step. And if your next best step is not my program, that's okay. That's okay. That's so okay. I just want you to find your next best step. What's within your resources, what's within your comfort level, for the work that you're ready to do, for the investment that you're ready to make. So please, please don't let that hold you back. Please don't let anything hold you back. And if you're getting what you need here, thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for listening, and thank you for commenting. Yeah, because there is no need for us to be living in prison. And honestly, this is the best work that we could do to honor our mothers and our grandmothers and our ancestors who didn't have as much freedom in their outer world, and to just shake off the chains. Oh, I'm getting chills as I say this, but just to shake off the chains of the legacy. Like, these are still their unconscious beliefs we're carrying. They don't want us to have them. Guys, they want us to live a life of so much abundance and so much love, and to not carry around this baggage that's generations old, you know, that we learned from our mothers, that they learned from their mothers, of playing small and pleasing and placating and doing what they needed to do to survive, because we're beyond that. We're so ready to step into this next level. So, got excited there at the end, so I probably definitely gone over my time today like I tend to, but thank you so much for being here with me, and I just am so happy to be here and happy to be able to share with you my enthusiasm, and looking forward to being here with you more. So stay tuned. I've been having a lot of time in the garden, but I've got some posts ready for you. So hope to really share with you a bunch over the next couple of weeks. Okay, bye for now.